Welcome to the To Your Health Podcast, your go-to source for everything health, wellness, fitness, and the latest in medical insights. I'm your host, Rhonda Alfred, and joining me today is Lana Stevens. She's a community educator and volunteer specialist with Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency, and Diane Weber. She's the mother of a donor and an advocate for organ donation. Thank you, ladies, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's get started with you telling us a little bit more about yourselves and your role with LOPA. Lana, why don't you go first?
So yes, I am a community educator with LOPA. My role is to raise awareness about organ tissue and eye donation, to encourage people to register on the Louisiana Donor Registry, and to talk to their family about the importance of organ donation. So.
Okay, and Diane?
Well, I was always aware of LOPA because I am in the medical field, but personal experience with the loss of my son Dylan in 2018 really brought me into the fold of the importance of organ and tissue donation, and brought me to where I am today.
All right, well, thanks so much for being here and sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
Well, it's Organ Donor Awareness Month, and Terrebonne General has been very active in their partnership with LOPA through the years. So that's why we wanted to bring you here today and talk a little bit more about why it's important and what it all means. So Lana, what is Organ Donation Month?
So yeah, as you mentioned, Terrebonne General has been a really great partner over many years for National Donate Life Month. So National Donate Life Month is kind of a month where we observe to not only celebrate our organ and tissue donors, but to also encourage people to register to become donors. But with that, like I said, there's celebration that comes along with it. This year's National Donate Life Month theme is Let Life Sing, with the kind of little pictures of birds all over. And the point being is that birds, usually do come around in the springtime, but not only that, but they bring a lot of hope to people, especially when you've lost a loved one. There's a lot of people that have connections to different birds and things like that. So it's just a reminder that organ donation does bring hope to so many different families. And so we're just, out in the community all over the month, not just here at Terrebonne General, not just here in Houma, but all over the state, raising awareness about the importance of donation and celebrating our donor heroes all over the state.
Right, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that too. So what kind of organs can be donated, and are there restrictions and rules that apply?
Okay, so as far as restrictions go, I tell everybody no, absolutely not. If this is something that you believe in, we say register to become a donor. Leave it up to the medical professionals at the time of death to make that decision on whether or not you can donate. As far as organs go, one healthy organ donor actually has the potential to save up to 8 people's lives, and that's through heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, and small intestinal transplants. And that's just the organs. So lots of different tissues that can be recovered for tissue transplantation, as well as the corneas and the eyes as well.
So why is it important for people to tell their families about their wishes with organ donation?
It is so important for families to have like an all-family discussion, as you mentioned. It's because the first time you have this conversation, you don't want it to be in an ICU waiting room. You want to know that this is something that you and your family discuss, that you know that this is what your loved one wants or doesn't want, and kind of do the research on it to see if it's right for your family. Of course, we encourage everybody to register to become donors, but most importantly, to talk to their family. And the reason it's so important to register is because there's currently over 100,000 patients nationwide that are waiting for some type of life-saving organ transplant. Here in Louisiana, that number's about 2,000, but nationwide, that number's close to 100,000.
100,000.
It's incredible.
Nationwide. That is incredible. Diane, tell us about your experience with organ donation.
Well, of course, it was my son was tragically lost to us, and the decision, I think, was an easy one because he was already on the organ donor registry. So when we approached the hospital where we were about it, they were very happy to tell us he was already on the organ registry list, and they really sat with me through the whole ordeal, and it was informative. And of course, it was a time in my life where it was a tragedy, and I had to make a decision, and they really guided me and sat with me through the whole step, step by step to guide us into what we were coming into.
Right, that meant a lot, I'm sure.
It meant a lot. I didn't have to question step by step. There was always someone there guiding me along and letting me know what was happening. And, you know, I can tell a really quick little story. Dylan was a short guy, about 5'5", and they told me one day they had to take him to the cath lab. Well, come to find out, his heart recipient was a tall guy. So they had to kind of make sure everything was going to work out.
Right?
And so it's a funny story that we, you know, kind of tell that, you know, yeah, he was a short guy and now he's living his life as a tall guy.
Right, living the dream, right?
Yes.
So did you get to meet the recipient's family? Have you had any contact with them?
I have contact with, so Dylan donated, in donation, they used his heart, his liver, and 2 kidneys.
That's a lot.
I have had constant contact with his heart recipient, and it's a very joyful contact. We keep up, you know, birthdays and anniversaries, and actually he just had his 7-year of getting his heart anniversary recently, because it was a 7-year that Dylan passed on. I did receive a letter from his liver recipient that told me that he was able to walk his son down the aisle. So it's been very, in my tragedy has come a lot of joy to other people. And, you know, it helps me know that Dylan made the right choice, and so did we. And it's bringing things to other families that really, they would be without their loved ones if not.
Right, if it wasn't for him.
Yes.
Have you ever attended the flag raising ceremony here at Terrebonne General?
I did. I think 2 years ago I did speak here at Terrebonne for the butterfly release and the flag raising, and it's very special. It's a special event. It gave me the opportunity to meet other families that are kind of in my same situation, or even recipient families, and we, you know, exchanged a lot of information and heartfelt hugs and things
you can
of that
find
nature.
strength in one another.
Yes.
And Lana, I mean, tell us about the process when someone is an unexpected death. I mean, how do you all work with the family to
So we work,
comfort them?
I was very happy to hear Diane say that, you know, it was a positive experience when our staff was kind of walking her through step by step. We take a lot of pride in taking care of our donor families. We always say our donor families are our donor family from the second we meet them in the hospital setting, basically for the rest of their lives, if that's what they choose. But as far as the process works, we at LOPA partner with all hospitals in Louisiana, much like we do with Terrebonne General. And every time there's a death in the facility of the hospital, they are required by law to call in to that death to their organ procurement organization, or OPO. And so at that point, we evaluate that patient to see if they meet criteria for donation, follow it as needed, and then when it's appropriate, talk to the family about the decision for donation and move forward with that.
Diane, what would you say to any family member who has lost a loved one and kind of on the fence about it, donating?
I think there's a lot of myth surrounding it, and I think education is the biggest advocate that you have as far as organ donation. Again, like I said, we were walked through each step. I always knew what was happening. And just kind of debunking some of those myths and letting people know that, you know, the recipients' families are, it's a lifestyle and a life change for them. These people may have not been here in a week, a month, a year, and now, like I said, we're celebrating 7 years with some of Dylan's recipients that, you know, they've gotten to spend that time with their loved ones, their family, had another birthday, had another Christmas. Do your research, get educated. If you have questions, ask. The outreach person at UMC at the time was very informative and really let us know. And I can tell you, speaking from experience, of course, from that day, like Lana said, forward, I have been included in so many things, just little things you wouldn't think of. At Christmas, you know, if you participate in the ornament, you know, hanging, you get an ornament. If, you know, they are now making blankets. There's lots of things to keep
his memory alive.
To keep his memory alive and to show the appreciation. And I just, I'm really advocating for education and, know what you're facing. And it does make a difference.
It truly is the ultimate gift, and that lives on.
Yes.
So, Lana, how does somebody become an organ donor?
So it's very simple. Most people are probably registered through the Office of Motor Vehicles when they get their driver's license. You simply have to say yes. They'll imprint that little red heart on your driver's license, but that's not the only way. You can register through lopa.org at any time. You can register through the LA Wallet app. And then more recently, in the last year or so, we've developed a partnership with the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries. So when you get your hunting and fishing license online, you can also register to become a donor. But like Diane said, education, education, education. Give us a call. We would love to come out to your, whether it's a corporate group, your church, your child's school, Rotary Club. We'll want to just educate the world on the importance of donation. So always can go to lopa.org to get all that information.
Right. Well, we do have a couple minutes. So are there any other myths you all want to dispel that, most people
What's
believe
a big one for
in?
you?
I think the biggest one that I've heard from people is that, they're not going to ask. They're just going to come and take the organs, or,
Not trying to save your life, right?
Yeah.
We hear that a lot.
That is absolutely not true. That's one thing I want people to know. You are involved in the decision making. They even, in the process, they'll ask you, can we use tissue as well? Can we use organs? Can we use tissues? Do you want to donate the eyes? It's an informative decision.
They don't
every step of the way. Yeah. So, I really think people just need to hear that and know that education is available. And if you have a question or you have that doubt in your mind, somebody's always there to answer it for you and guide you.
Yes, and answer all your questions.
I think one of the other myths, that's the biggest one. The one that she mentioned is, are they going to really save my life? And, like I tell people all the time, their job is to save your life, only after all efforts have been made, like she said. But another one I think is important to point out is that people have fear that maybe their loved one's body will look disfigured, or they can't have a traditional open casket funeral. And that's completely false as well. So we've had families that all of our patients are treated the same, and that's with respect. So whether it's an open casket funeral, a closed casket funeral, or a cremation, they're all treated the same, and nothing will be visually impaired.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your personal story, Diane, and Lana, for you being here today. Appreciated that.
Thank you so much.
For more information about organ donation, visit tghealthsystem.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast where you get your podcasts. Thanks for joining us.